Hi guys, I've gotten a lot of questions since we've been home about parents wanting to know how to help their kids with math. So I thought I'd do a quick video for you guys just to tell you where the switch has come in from when we learned it versus where our kids are now. And it's not as hard as you think. Trust me, I'm technology challenged. I get lost when I use the remote at home, and if I can post a video to YouTube, you can figure this out. Alright, so basically the big shift has been math is being viewed now more as a progression based on number sense. What that means is, if you think of it like a staircase, each one of the grade levels is responsible for a piece, and whenever they get up to the next level, they wait and they make sure their kids have that, so then the next level knows where to pick up from. So in second grade, what that looks like is we start off on the concrete. We start off building the numbers with base 10 blocks. We start off talking about what each segment of the number means. Then we move on to the pictorial form, which is level 2, which is sketching, which is where the kids are using pictures to represent the value of the numbers. We move to expanded form. Now we're getting into the abstract, where they're having to play with the values of numbers and be able to add those together, up to partial sum, which when I show you that one, it's going to look a lot like what you're used to with a twist, because again, it's based on values. So why the switch? Well, what we found is that we were assuming kids knew more about numbers and their values than they actually did. It's like handing a child a book and telling them to read it before you've taught them the alphabet or what the sounds are. So we've changed our mathematical teaching practices in order to better match what our kids need to learn. Here's the way that looks familiar to what we used to do. This is the algorithm. This is the way that most of us were taught in school, and it's based on memorizing a process and being able to put the answers down. So here's the vocabulary and the language that we used when we were in school. I looked at this. I always started from my ones. 7 plus 3 was 13. I put down the 3. I carried the 1. 1 plus 4 plus 3 gives me 8. 2 plus 1 is 3. My answer is 383. Here's the problem with what we found. If you listen to my vocabulary, all of these numbers meant the same thing. Whenever I said I carried the 1, that's actually not the value of this number. It's a group of 10, because this answer was 13. 13 is not a 1 and a 3, it's a 10 and a 3. So right here, we've just confused kids because all of these numbers have the same value. And I don't know about you, but I would rather have $200 than 2. Okay, so after we've learned why the old way wasn't focused on the numbers and the values, and it confused kids, I'm going to talk about level 2, which is sketching. After we've had the kids build it and work with base 10 blocks, and we talk about the value of each number in 247, then we go to sketching. We go to representing these numbers now with a picture instead of with manipulatives. And here's what that looks like. If I have 247, that means I have 2 hundreds, and hundreds are drawn as open squares, 4 tens, and 7 ones. That would be the number 247. We always put ours, when we sketch them out, into a 10 frame. So it's a row of 5 and 2 more. We're always building on that fluency with kids so that it's easier for them to count as well. Then I'm also going to sketch my second number. Since it's addition, I have 2 numbers and I'm joining them together, so I need to sketch both of them. 136. So I have 100, and I need to make sure that those are lined up. 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I need my equals line. We really stress to kids the importance of making sure that this is readable and it's lined up. I should be very clearly able to see both of my numbers and that I'm adding them together. So here's where we add. Here's where this part of the number sense comes in. 7 plus 6. Here's the vocabulary. 7 ones plus 6 ones is 13 ones. Can I make a group of 10? Yes, I can. 7 and 3 more make 10. This gives me 13. That value gets written directly underneath the sketch in the ones place because that's what it's worth. Here's where a lot of kids will have trouble, is in the tens place. I have 4 tens. The value of 4 tens is 40. 40 plus 30 is 70. My value for these numbers comes down here. 200 plus 100 equals 300. When I put all of my values back together, 300 plus 70 plus 13, I get 383. The best way you can help your kids if they're still on level 2 sketching for addition is have them talk through the math problem with you. You should be hearing the vocabulary of 7 ones plus 6 ones. I can make a group of 10, that's 13, 10 and 3 more. When they move to the tens, you should be hearing 4 tens, not 4 plus 3. So if you're hearing 4 plus 3, the best thing you can do as a parent is say, but what's the value? What are those worth? 40 plus 30, 70. And if your kid is still struggling, have them count it out with you. 40, 50, 60, 70. And then put the value down. If your child is working on a level 3 and they've gotten a 3 on their report card in addition, it means they're on expanded form. It means they've shown us that they understand sketching, they understand the place value of each number, and they're ready to move on to the abstract form because they're able to see numbers and they're able to manipulate their values. So when we go to expanded form, it's exactly what it means. We expand the number out, but it's based on their values. So if I'm looking at the math problem, 436 plus 198. In expanded form, again, I'm writing both numbers because in addition we have both numbers and we're joining those together. This would be 400 plus 30 plus 6. I'm taking all of the values and I'm expanding those out. So 198, making sure again that I'm lining them up, and then I draw my equals line. So I've got the value of each one of the numbers expanded out. Now, this is going to be a little uncomfortable for adults because we were always taught we start at the ones. But in all honesty, since we're focused on what each one of these columns or each one of these place values mean, it doesn't matter whether I start from the hundreds or the ones. I'm going to start from the ones just because I know that's going to be a little more comfortable for everybody. So 6 plus 8 is 14. Again, listening to your child's vocabulary as they explain these to you. 30 plus 90. A lot of kids have trouble for some reason when we add that 0 on. If they want to say 3 tens plus 9 tens is 12 tens, that's fine with us. What they need to then equate that to is 12 tens has a value of 120. Again, we're going back to what is the value. 400 plus 100 is 500. So when I push all of these numbers back together and I look at my values, I would talk through it. 500 plus 100 gives me 600. 20 plus another 10 here gives me 30. and 4 ones. My answer is 634. Level 4 is the last level in 2nd grade that we drop the children off at so that they're ready for 3rd grade. This is our end goal for all of our 2nd graders, is that they're able to get to partial sum with understanding and being able to explain their thought process. So partial sum is going to look a lot like the standard algorithm when we start off. The difference is, again, you're going to hear the focus is on the place value. So when I set up this math problem, I'll keep the same one, 436 plus 198. We're going to stack that up just like we were used to. And again, since I'm focused on values, it doesn't matter where I start adding. 400 plus 100, and I'm going to put that math problem over here off to the side, equals 500, making sure that I'm lining up my answers in the correct place value column. 30 plus 90 equals 120, or 3 tens plus 9 tens is 12 tens with a value of 120. 6 plus 8 equals 14. It's super important that the kids keep these in the right place value columns. If they get sketchy or messy with all of these, that's where they get off on their answers. Okay, so when I add 500 plus 120 plus 14, my answer is 634. Now, there's a second part to partial sum. Once our kids have shown us that they are consistently getting these answers correct, we do let them go ahead and drop the math problems off the side once they've shown us they are not making any careless mistakes. So when we're looking at end of the year goal for a 2nd grader, this is what they should be able to produce for us. I hope this helps.